The reason for the walk is I follow 4 steps of a civil disobedience campaign. So like Henry David Thoreau, like Dr. Martin Luther King, there are these steps that you follow. One is you gather the facts. I have gathered the facts on No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top. And there are 3 important major impact studies that are the Reading First Impact Study, 2008. There's the 2009 Supplemental Reading Program Study. For 5th grade, there's the 2010 Supplemental Reading Program for grade 6. Now these studies, what happens is in any research project, what you have is you have the experimental group. That's the one you give the medicine to that you are certain is going to help them. And there's a control group. That's the one you feel sorry for, you don't do anything for. Those 3 studies spent billions of dollars, 10 years of our time, dominated our schools, and at the end of those studies, each of them, billions were spent. The data that came back showed that the experimental groups, the reforms that the government was pushing, absolutely failed. Not only failed, students lost comprehension. And guess what? Remember the control group, the one that I said you're supposed to feel sorry for? They're the only ones that showed any growth. So at this point, I've been fighting, I've been asking to hold people accountable in Washington, all across this country, for continuously pushing failed experimental programs where the data indicates they are complete failure. If this was a medicine, what would have happened is everyone would have died in their study. This was a medicine. What would have happened is everyone would have died in their study. So of course I have to walk. So I've gathered those facts. The other piece is negotiation. I go to the Department of Ed. I will testify there. I speak to people. I speak at boards. I speak in my classrooms. I speak at my professional organizations. I've gone to our legislative leaders. I've spoke to them, and I tell them about this data. And I say, you're chasing these kids' test scores. You don't need to chase their test scores. You need to look at your own data, and your own data says this is the most massive education reform failure in the history of the United States of America. And I've been going there to negotiate, but there is no negotiation. They look right past me, and they continue with the same old, same old. And get this, at the end of 13 years, that's how long we've been doing these experimental reforms, you no longer can call yourself reformers. You have to accept that you are the status quo. So the negotiation, I've negotiated with the status quo, they are not listening. So the third part of any civil rights campaign is purification. That's my walk. That's where I go and I walk and talk and I meet the people, the ones that CNN do not interview, the ones that NBC doesn't care about, the ones that Fox ignores. No one's talking to our children, no one's talking to our teachers, and no one's talking to our parents. So on my walk is a purification where I am gathering their narratives, their stories, and I'm bringing them to DC. The 4th piece is action. And the whole purpose of the walk is I think I need to wake up a nation and tell them we don't have to put up with the status quo. $1.2 trillion was allocated for No Child Left Behind. And the data on our high school students graduating who have only known these reforms says that their SAT scores are the lowest in 4 decades. Tell me, are we supposed to continue with this? I don't think so. So I feel that the walk is leading us to a step of action, and I'm asking every place I go, I say, no more silence, no more apathy. We vote the bums out. We take to the streets. We occupy our boards of ed. We occupy our schools. We occupy our universities. We occupy our streets, and we take this democracy back. They're our public schools, not theirs.